Andy, do you ever have teams that for no reason, like you just hate, like you
Yes.
absolutely like despise? I mean, the team in and of itself may suck, but when they're playing against your team for some reason, they just egg you or whatever.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, that's part. Sports is the one place where you can have hatred and it's okay. Because
Okay.
it's not real hate. It's just sports hate, which is totally allowed. So yeah, oh yeah. I mean, there's teams that I even kind of like that I still have to hate. I meie that's totally
Yeah.
allowed. Yeah, of course. Hate
Okay.
away.
I hate the Kansas City Royals, Andy. Like I just hate them. Like they're the clown show of baseball for a lot of things. They've been
Yeah,
awful for so long, but for some reason, when they do make the playoffs and they do play the Orioles, like nothing works. Like in 2014, the Orioles had one of their best teams ever. And the Royals were just, I mean, they were fine, but they were just kind of meh.
yeah,
And we were coming off of a great first round playoff win, and then we play them and they take us and like it was embarrassingly bad. And then the following, if they go to the World Series and lose. I feel like if the Orioles would have gone to the World Series that year, they would have won. So that pissed me off. Then the next year, the Orioles weren't in it, but the Royals won the World Series, which with again a meh lineup. It was one of those things where they had their starting pitcher go 5 innings and then threw all their best bullpen at him. It just was a joke. So this year, the Orioles again having a great year. The Royals barely got into the playoffs.
yeah,
And here we go. Like our ace is going against their ace. Our ace pitches amazing for 8 innings, gives up only 1 run. The
yeah.
only problem is, Andy, we didn't score any runs against them. And it just pisses me off. I hate and now they play again today and tomorrow. If tomorrow it's a best of three of the first round now.
Okay.
I've already resigned that we're gonna lose. So like I'm just not in a good space, and I fucking hate the Royals.
Well, I mean, the Royals, Dave, if I recall, that's a Patrick Mahomes team, right? I think Patrick's a big enthusiast of
Yeah,
those
fuck
Kansas City
that.
Royals. Yeah, it's funny how you get your nemesis. I think you mentioned on Monday's pod that they were like your playoff nemesis, and that's just like that's the fun of sports. But Dave, don't give up. Don't give up on your O's. You can win a
I
best of three. Like
I
that's very
know, I
doable.
know.
You got to stay faithful. You got to faith.
It is doable. I do have faith, but it's weird. I do like playoff baseball though. Games start. They had 4 games yesterday. I mean, amazing. I think it's three today. I just love playoff baseball. I love baseball when it's played during the day in October. That's just it just all that seems right. Now these championship games they start at 9 o'clock at night. And who watches at 9 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
I can barely stay up for the debate at 9 o'clock at night. So,
Dave, I did stay up too late watching that debate yesterday. Two back-to-back nights of staying up way past my bedtime. So it's tough. But I mean, like I don't pay attention to baseball. I don't care about baseball. I just don't. But it's fun to see people be excited. I know the Tigers had a game yesterday. I think fans were really excited to see the Tigers in the playoffs. It's just
yeah.
fun to see people celebrating their teams and having a good time. And I almost wish I could care about baseball just to get into it, but my baseball sort of excitement just goes back to my first few baseball cards I had as a kid, which interestingly enough, my first baseball cap was a Detroit Tigers baseball cap because I liked Frank Tanana's baseball card, and therefore I liked the Tigers when I was
Frank
like 7 years
Banana.
old. Yeah, yeah, I still remember the card very well.
There you
So
go.
yeah, so well, I'm sorry your O's didn't get it, Dave, but good luck today. Good luck today.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Eflin's pitching today, so hopefully we'll have a good start there. Andy, let's talk about something you do love.
Okay,
Let's talk about the NFL.
let's talk
So
about the
we'll talk
NFL. All
we'll
right.
talk the debate the next segment. Let's talk the NFL. How are you feeling after your Lions really like look, Seattle had one of the top 5 defenses, and Jared Goff is 18 for 18. No intercept. Well, of course, no interceptions if he's perfect. Like unbelievable day by him. Unbelievable running game. Like this is the Lions team I thought we were gonna see in the
Yeah.
beginning, and woo, look good.
Looked really good, Dave. I mean, it was a great game. These have been high scoring games between Seattle and Detroit's just been on the losing end each of the last few games. And so they came out the first half, looked like they were going to be in control. Jared had a good first half. I mean, he was, I think, 12 for 12, but it wasn't like phenomenal numbers or anything. But some after the first drive, which was a nothing drive, we were playing good football. David Montgomery was running hard. Things were starting to look good. Second half, Seattle made it exciting, but Detroit, kept going, kept pushing. Jared Goff, 18 for 18. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 1 for 1 with a completion of Jared Goff for a score. And just the whole team. I mean, J-Mo was great. Uh, Sam Laporta played well. All around, Jahmyr Gibbs ran hard. I mean, like the team just played well. And defensively, guys are flying at the helmet, making life difficult for Geno Smith, who I've noted. Like, I don't like the fact that I actually really like Geno Smith. Like, I think he's got a great story. So it was super exciting for Lions fans. Historical game because of that, not a single drop ball. I mean, it was fantastic. And yeah, it was the Lions playing the way the Lions are supposed to play. So super exciting to see that, Dave. Meanwhile, there's a terrible game on the other end with the Titans
Uh,
Dolphins vying for like who's going to be the worst in the NFL right now. That was I don't know if anybody watched that game. That was, I mean, even fans I don't think want to watch that game. But yeah,
I
the
I
Lions
want
were awesome.
I watched a little just because until the Lions game started. That's where I was at. So on that front, yeah, they look good, Andy. They look good. So good week of football, for sure. So let's do our top five, Andy, and our
All right.
bottom one. Let's get into that. So, do you want to start on your top five? Because I've made mine over a little bit. I was really that Ravens. Look, I was rewarded for having the Ravens where I did last week,
You
even though
were.
it's 1-2. So,
Yeah, no, you were right about that, David. I can do mine. I can go. I'll go 5-1. And there definitely were some changes this week. I you know, Baltimore Buffalo is a big game. I mean,
that
for the
was
early
good.
part of the season, that was a big game of two teams that will almost certainly be in the playoffs at the end of this year. And so, my number five, I put the Buffalo Bills at number five. I dropped them down a little bit. And Dave, the best 2-2 team in football are the Baltimore Ravens. They could a couple of plays be 4-0 and dominating the NFL, but they're not. And so you've got to sort of respect the reality of the record. But I put Baltimore in at number four because I think that's very fair for how they're playing. My Detroit Lions, Dave, number three. I think they showed that they're playing great football and among the top in the NFL right now. And I put Detroit in number three. Dave, I have to give respect to Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings at 4-0. I mean, you can make the case for them to be number one. I think the NFL power rankings have them at number one, but I've got them in there too because until somebody can find a way to beat the banged up, injured, underperforming Chiefs, they keep on winning football games. And so the Kansas City Chiefs will remain my number one team, Dave.
All right, I think that's fair. I think there's it's going to I think I've got the same top five, just slightly different order, Andy, just because I do believe that the Ravens are really a top-notch team. So I'm going to go five with Buffalo. I look, I think that they were playing great football. They were eviscerating teams too, in the beginning, and then the Ravens just came in and just thoroughly dominated them.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
yeah, Sunday night, Baltimore, the black jerseys, that means something. Living in Baltimore for as long as I did, that does mean something.
yeah.
And the crowd really gets into it, and they just like Derrick Henry. Geez, that guy. I mean, that
Monster.
87-yard run was amazing. Anyway, so Buffalo was at five. Andy, I know the record says 4-0, but I'm not
Not there
quite
yet.
there yet with the Vikings, but I do believe, look, they're answering the bell. You got to win these games. Like, I mean, you got to win, and they're winning. Um, I didn't like what I love what I saw getting out. What was it, 28-0, or it was 24? It was somewhere in there. I didn't like the fact that it was 28-22 that the Green Bay had come back on.
Yeah.
But they withstood, and Sam Darnold, when needed, he made the plays that they needed to make. So I have them at number four. I have your Lions, Andy, at number three. Really impressive. Like, the defense can look, that Seattle team is really good. I
Yeah.
really like that team, and they played great. And they tried to go toe to toe with the Lions. The Lions just were stronger. Kind of like the black uniforms there too, Andy.
They
So,
look good. And the blue
uh,
helmets, they look good.
yeah, and then number two, I'm going to go with the Ravens, and for all the reasons I just said. And then number one, Kansas City, though, like, good gravy. I mean, just you got to win these games too, but they're not looking pretty, and losing
Yeah,
runs is potentially gonna hurt them. So
yeah, for sure it is. And they're playing them and the Niners. Really amazing to see both those teams that were probably considered the best in their respective conferences by quite a bit. You could argue other teams were close, both just riddled with injuries right now, really taking a toll. And that's what makes the NFL so hard. Is no matter how good you are, you got to win the injury game, which
yeah.
that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
All right, Andy. So go with your your worst team in the league, just the one.
I mean, and there's a lot of teams that suck right now, Dave.
Yeah.
I mean, there really are. I mean, there's a lot of teams that suck, and I don't know that they're getting better. I've got to say, the Washington Commanders don't suck. They're
No,
a
they
top
don't.
10 NFL team right now. They are looking like a legitimate football team for the first time in a long time. So congratulations, Washington fans. But I think like right now today, this moment in time, the Miami Dolphins might be the worst team in football. I mean,
Yeah,
they
it's
might
tough.
be. Carolina stinks. Tennessee's not good. But man, without Tua, the Dolphins are really like there's nothing happening down in Miami.
Yeah, that's a tough hang, Miami right now. And I mean, I who knows when Tua's going to come back? I mean, they're 1-3. I know they initially said four. He has to be there for 4 weeks, so that's
Yeah,
another week he's got to sit out. And yeah, I was t tempted to put them there, but they did beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 0-4. And man, that Jaguars team, they seem
struggling.
to come so close on all these things, but they just can't pull it out. And
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, coaching, quarterback maybe, but I don't think they're really that bad. But I have to, maybe it is, Andy. Maybe I have to go with the Dolphins too, because like right now, that's a bad football team.
yeah,
And if they play the Jaguars again, I think the Jaguars beat them. I mean, Tennessee put 32 points on me.
yeah. And
That was
Tennessee
bad.
stinks. So I
And
mean,
Tennessee stinks.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
There's definitely like you said, things are starting to shake out. The teams that are bad are showing they're bad. The teams that are good are showing they're actually I think the Vikings are a legitimate football team. The Ravens, despite their record, are a really good football team. We're starting to see like truth. So it's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times.
That the one game that's going to haunt the Ravens as they get near the end in playoff positioning is that Raiders game. I mean, they
Yeah,
had that game by 10 points. So
yeah.
in the fourth quarter, they couldn't put it away. All right, Andy, let's go to the next one. This is a less favorite topic of yours, but I think it's an important one. Andy, the vice presidential debate last night. I watched the first hour. I just didn't want to watch anymore. I think I had heard everything I needed to hear. But I have to tell you, Andy, I thought it was a good debate. I thought one, both candidates were respectful of one another. There was none of this thing. I think I was actually very impressed with JD Vance. I had heard he was a good debater. I thought he was very well prepared. He was very polished. He kept on his points. He was not insulting. Actually, he was complimentary of Waltz. And likewise, I thought there was the real debate on the issues, and they got into some of the topics. They didn't really get off on any of these wild, conspiracy theories or anything like that. They had their talking points, and they did divert off questions a lot. But I actually came away a little bit more impressed with Vance than I was with Waltz. I thought Waltz was he stumbled out of the block a little bit.
Yeah.
Thought he was a little dodgy with some of the questions about some of his misrepresentations.
Yep.
And whereas I thought Vance I thought he looked strong, frankly. I mean, I almost would rather, I know he's got his own things in the closet. I know there's a lot of other things with him, but if you go just on the merits of the debate, I thought it was a good one, and I thought Vance did better. So
Yeah. I mean, I think one. I think oftentimes people watch these debates. People walk away thinking, "Man, I wish those guys were at the top of
yeah,
the ticket." Right. And I think it happens not like frequently because the vice presidential debate seems to be a little bit calmer, a little bit more respectful, a little bit just less vitriolic. That seems to be like historically. I think that's true. I think this is the presidential debate. There's usually just so much tension, and
mhm.
people don't really care about the vice president as much. I mean, whether you go back to, I mean, the last few with Trump and Clinton, right? They just tend to be, more tense, right? Trump and Biden. So this brought the tone down to a more, respectful tone. Look, JD Vance is a good debater. I mean, he came in, he was prepared, he speaks well. He speaks folksy, right? I mean, he was talking to the American people. He was using language, that I think resonates with people, right? We're just talking about common sense. Basic things. We're talking about basic wisdom. But I think people heard that, and I think it resonates, right? It resonates like, yeah, that does make sense, right? And that's part of the debate. You're trying to bring people in, make them feel like they can trust you. Tim Walz definitely not as polished a debater. I mean, like I said, he came right out and he was mixing up Israel and Iran and words. He felt like his sort of nervous energy, I think, by the pressure situation. He's not nearly as polished as Walz is there. They both did a fine job, and they both, I
Yeah,
think, they spoke to their issues in some cases. They were vague and ambiguous at other times. I mean, Walz did not do a good job on the China question, right? Like, just be direct, man. Like, you tell me about all this stuff about China, like, just answer the question. And Vance, to his credit, did a good job of saying, let me answer your question. And he did, at
yeah,
times.
yeah,
Now, again, as the debate went on, um, he didn't, right? I mean, asked about January 6th,
yeah.
he did not answer the question. Asked about the election, he did not answer the question. And those were telling moments too, right? Because everybody's going to go up there and put a best face on and speak well on some points and candidly on some, vaguely on some. And they were both vague on quite a bit, as these tend to go. But when it came down to some of those direct issues, you know, Dance couldn't be forthright with the American people and say Donald Trump lost the election. He couldn't
Right.
say that he would certify an election. And that's the issue, like more than anything else with Donald Trump that has people, I think, concerned, right? Is he cannot be trusted with our American democracy, right? That's the point that people have often made. That's my concern, right? It's not just on politics. You can argue tariffs. Tariffs, I think, suck. You can argue if they're good or bad. You can make the case for tariffs and making others pay more. Like you can argue that. You can debate that. You can debate taxes. Fair, right? You can debate energy and the best way to have an all of the above type energy, program. Like you can have, and they did talk some of those issues. But at the end of the day, if one of the candidates is not going to respect the results of the election, if one of the candidates is not going to respect our branches of government, if one of the candidates is not going to respect our democratic system, that transcends any issue debate. That's
Mhm.
the concern with Donald Trump. JD Vance did nothing to reassure the American people that democracy is safe with Trump Vance. In fact, he made me more concerned because he seemingly is going to support Donald Trump regardless of what he says, and that's scary. The moderator should have handled that part up front in the debate. To be honest, I think a lot of people probably dialed out by 10:35, whenever it was they brought it up. But
Me.
yeah. But that was a real issue and concern. So while he did do very well, he did do very well. Walls did well, I think, given his background and level of experience in this type of forum. At the end of the day, the same issue remains. I don't feel comfortable. I think a lot of Americans don't feel you can trust Trump Vance with American democracy. That's a big issue. That's a big issue.
Yeah, yeah, and I think ultimately that, like again, at the end of the day, these debates, the vice presidential debates are often not any. Nobody remembers those. I mean, obviously, you have the one-liners, the Dan Quayle and Lloyd
Yeah,
Benson ones.
yeah,
You have some where Biden versus, Biden's vice president. There's a lot of things that people may remember, but there was nothing about this debate that anybody's going to take away. But again, I think it is an important point. You have to reinforce that at the end of the day, it's going to come down to will you respect the results of the election?
yeah,
And one side clearly is not in that line. And I think all the good talking points that Vance did, and all the how prepared he was, and whether he could pull things back into the box from the chaos that is outside of it, it does come down to that is like are like what lengths are you going to go to respect this country, the voters, and the outcomes of that. And
yeah,
again, that is a big question. That's an open question that at the end of the day will have to be, it could be the decider for some people in the ballot box.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think it will be. I think it will be for some people, and that's that
yeah.
that's that's a real issue. So yeah, but it was a good point. I mean, JD Vance didn't hurt himself.
No,
He did a good job. He did a good job,
he,
as far as his presentation goes, for sure.
he's definitely not going to be memes out of the debate like the cat one was
Yeah,
for Trump. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, he did a good job. I thought he was very well prepared and did a good job. Yeah, the question still remains. Now, the question, Andy, as we go before we go to our next topic, real quick, do you think we're going to see another presidential debate or not?
I don't know if we will.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's possible, but I think it's getting late. I
it's
don't
less and less likely, I think.
Yeah, I don't think Trump has a lot to gain from it, to be honest with you. Um, I don't think he's going to be baited into, you're too scared to debate. I don't think
Yeah,
it's going to work. I mean, we're a month out, Dave. We're a
I
month out from
know.
election day, so I don't think it's going to happen. It could though. I mean, we could be surprised and have one. I don't think he'll get anything positive out of that, though, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right, Andy. So let's go ahead to our last topic. I think we're a little behind today. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll go to our next topic, see how long this little health check-in and maybe a little grab bag or so at the
All
end.
right, all right.
But not to be confused with grab ass Andy that you're familiar with. So, Andy, so health update again, my new goal 205.
Yeah,
The wedding, I think I was at a good number. I think it was ultimately at 212 in that neighborhood. Andy, 211.8 today, as of today. That's
nice.
good.
Yeah,
So my new goal though is 205. So I need to get down that 6 more pounds. This is the tough time of year, Andy. This is a
it
tough
is.
time.
It is.
You got all that good food out there. I love the holidays. It's October, really now, fall.
Yeah,
Um, the temperatures, oh man, but
crisp.
yeah, we'll have to do a thing on like holiday treat. Like, what's your favorite holiday treats or something as you go into these things. But Andy, I'm pretty pumped, so I'm feeling good, looking good. I always look good,
You
but
are
I'm
looking good.
feeling
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Worth
yeah.
noting. Celebrate that, Dave. Save it. Celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're excited for you. I mean, you're continuing the journey. You're looking good. You're getting in there. You're having continued success, right? The trend is a downward trend, and that's the goal, right? So it's exciting
Yeah.
for you. I think by the end of October, Thanksgiving is a dynamic changer. But by the end of October, if you can stay out of the Halloween basket, you could be pretty close to that next goal.
The Halloween basket's gonna be tough, Andy. It's gonna be tough. So it's just limiting the damage, Andy.
Yep.
But to that point, Andy, it's like I think one of these things, and we've talked about like the Arnold newsletter, the Arnold like recommendations and stuff. Like
Yep.
I tell you, I think one of the big things is like, look, you're gonna have bad days, and I think he even talked about this week in his newsletter. It's like you're gonna have a bad day. The question is, don't let it derail you from getting like, okay, you had a bad day. It's behind you. Move forward, reassert yourself, and get onto the path. And I think that's the key thing with weight loss because like it's tough. It is hard, and you can't be super stressed out about, oh my God, I had that brownie. I can't, or I can't indulge in this because it's gonna. No, just okay. You had it. Now move on the next day, get back on, and often a lot of those times that mistake that you had or that bad day, it gets wiped off because you get back on the bike, get back on the horse or back on the trail and you're rolling again and you find that the weight just comes right back off again. So, but again, it's not these quick fixes. I mean, it's taken me 2 months and I'm 8 pounds. I've had back and forth. So, I mean,
Yep.
it's not overnight. So pound a week, Andy, pound a week. So
It's a good goal. It's a fair goal. And Dave, it's 96 o'clock in the morning, and I really want a brownie. So
yeah, I know. Sorry,
thanks for
man.
that. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Dave, you mentioned our newsletter. We haven't gone to that in a while. And I was actually looking at, we mentioned before his 77 tips, right? As Arnold turned 77 this year, he shared his 77 lessons. So Dave, do you mind if I jump in that and I'll
Yeah, yeah,
share?
yeah. Go for it.
Let
Yeah,
me, let
go.
me share numbers 3 and 4 here real quick because they go together. So we've done 1 and 2. Looking at 3 and 4, he spends a lot of time talking about having a vision and sort of the pursuit of that vision, right? The ruthless pursuit of your vision. And I think it's a good thing for all of us because I think a lot of times people feel like they're, drifting, whether it's with physical fitness, weight gain, weight loss, muscular development, whatever it is. So there's goals now, but there's also sort of like the bigger, like what the hell am I doing vision, right? And I think a lot of times people struggle there as well, young and old. And so just want to share, tips 3 and 4 here. He says, if you don't see your vision right away, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. It's normal. You need to explore, try new things, read, meet new mentors, learn. You need to, and he dots into number 4, be curious, read books, read magazines, watch documentaries, Find a subject that gets you going and dive in as deep as you can. If your vision isn't clear, curiosity is your best bet. Even when becomes clear, never stop learning. And Dave, he talked about this because Arnold found his vision early. Like he knew as he was sitting there in Austria, like he found his love in bodybuilding and knew that he wanted to pursue that. He wanted to come to America. He wanted to be the best, and he pursued that the rest of his life, and he continues to share that and be that in many ways today. But for all of us, and there's something to that idea of like trying to figure out what we're doing. Like I think I don't know if you had this conversation when you're in the army, Dave. A lot of times I've talked to my peers is like, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? When army time comes to an end, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And I think it's a good thought for all of us to have there, right? And that doesn't have to stop at any age because we have something ahead of us. And so, what do we want that future, whether that's 3 years or 30 years or 60 years, what do we want that to look like? I think it's great to think about that and sort of the focus on just sort of continue to be curious and continue to gather information, get different sources and think about that. I think it's good encouragement for all of us.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, again, it's just positive reinforcement, having that vision for what you do. And again, you're, I mean, not every day is a good day. You're
Yeah,
gonna have some distractions. But if you have that vision and understanding of where you want to go to, it'll get there. I
yeah,
mean, and look, I mean, I wake up some days and I do not want to go to the gym. I do not want to go for my morning walk. And that's just the way things happen sometimes. But
yeah,
I do. Maybe it's not as strong today as it is the other days, but look, I mean, go forward and keep working on it. So I think it's good to good health check-in for everybody. Like
yeah,
again, if anybody else is out on those have their own goals, please share them with us. We'd love to hear them and encourage you on your journey as well. So
for sure, for
yeah.
sure.
All right, Andy, I think we'll wrap up that one a little early, on that little cycle. So how's everything else going for you, Andy?
Dave, things are good. Let me share, and I know we're ton of time. Let me share a little story, yes, though,
Yeah.
and yes, so I've got my green light with cancer treatment, but I still go in every 2 months and get follow on maintenance treatment. So I was in there yesterday. I was plugged in, getting my treatment for a few hours, and Dave, it's an open bay, right? It's an open floor. There's probably 40 chairs. Sometimes it's full, sometimes it's less full. Yesterday it was moderately full. There was a fair amount of people there. And there's people they when chemo's tiring, you're getting steroids and meds and people are sleeping, right? Some people are older and they're just trying to rest. Like it can be hard on folks. And some people aren't, and that's fine. Like I sit there and I work. I sit there and I work for a few hours with the stuff flowing through my body. Two different people yesterday felt that it was socially acceptable to be on speakerphone with the volume up in full conversation. One guy I think was talking to work colleagues about billing issues and like fix this and fix that and having a full-on like conference call. Another guy was just chatting with his wife and just like they're just talking about like nothing, right? There's blah blah blah. Fully audible phone conversations. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like where's your basic manners? Like one, nobody wants to hear your conversation, right? Two, just take it off a speakerphone, right? Put
Yeah.
AirPods in, put like manage it, but probably don't have a call in this situation. And then you've got these poor people that are like trying to sleep, and these guys just carrying on like they're the only person in the room. And I was just dumbfounded by it. And I was like, how like self-absorbed do you have to be, right? And I was having flashbacks to my plane story, right? And the audacity of that woman to put her pink duffel bag in my seat. And I was like, these guys are pretty ballsy too, right? I mean, just like there's 20 other people here, and you feel like it like we should be sitting here listening to your conversation. Like that's okay. Like that we want to hear your conversation with your coworkers and your wife. Like I was kind of mind blown. I thought that was a complete douchebag thing to do and a way to behave. I mean, if you have to jump on a phone, you jump on, you get off, right? If you have to, like something comes up, like I get that, but these are like 10, 15, 20-minute conversations. Like, where's your basic decency and manners? Like, are we so self-absorbed that we don't realize these things? So I was kind of pissed off about it, Dave. It got under my skin. I'd be curious to know if you think I was, was I being
No,
too sensitive? Was I crazy?
no, I don't understand this either. I was at when I was traveling a couple weeks ago. I was at Reagan National, and I'm waiting in the gate area. Like there's chairs all over. It's crowded. Everyone's
Yeah.
there. I I have this person who comes over and they're on a FaceTime call with their family and I know this because I can hear it and see it. They're on a FaceTime call with their family talking about how their day is going and all the steps that they got to do the rest of the day and oh hi kiddos, look, I can appreciate that. I can
Yeah.
appreciate wanting to stay in contact with your family. Put the fucking headphones in.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to hear your conversation. And look, and most times if you have to talk, step away from put your back, step away and go somewhere else quiet that you can talk to. But one, I don't want to hear your phone conversations. Two, why are you dragging on for 10 or 15 minutes?
Yeah.
And three, why do you feel it's important for everybody to hear your conversation? Do you not have headphones? I mean, you can buy a pair of cheap ones.
Yeah.
Pretty easily. I just don't understand that. And Andy, I think what happened to you is like even more disrespectful. I mean, you have people in a medical facility
Yeah.
who are there for any number of reasons. Obviously, yours is chemo, but you're going to be on a fucking work call or talking to your family. What the hell? I
Yeah.
was like, I mean, be respectful of other people. Have situational awareness. No, you're not out of line at all, Andy.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you for that confirmation. Yeah, just I mean, it comes down to just don't be a douchebag, right? I mean, as we
Yeah.
go about our lives, right? Whether you're running for Congress or the presidency, whether you're running a business, whether you're just talking socially in some forum and saying like, just don't be so self-absorbed that you're being a complete douche. And people like we live in a time when people love to be a douche for attention, for lack of self-awareness, for so many reasons. But come on, do better than that, America. Like we should be better than that. So
Yeah, we,
a little PSA, right?
yeah.
Hey, everybody, don't be a dick, right? Do better than that. But Dave, with that, like it's a great time in sports, right? It's a great time in America. Dave, while we talk about this election so much, like soon we can stop talking about it, which is going to be phenomenal, right? So there's crazy things all around us, but a lot of good things too. Arnold continues to share his wisdom with us. We're talking about health. We're talking about getting better. We're watching your Baltimore Orioles. They've got faith. I believe in you. The Lions are hot. Like there's a lot of good things. So again, don't let we can't let these things get us down.
Mama Jabor would not have tolerated that. She would have gone over there and turned off, I think. So, all right, Andy, a good way to wrap up our pod and good encouragement, Andy, by you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
there we go. So, all right, Andy, with that, I'll catch up with, oh, it's Friday already. I'm excited. Almost Friday. So,
Yeah, yeah, we're not there yet, man. Slow
so
down. Simmer down.
all right, get another cup of coffee, Andy, and we'll catch up with you next time.